Imagine this carefully. In a Varshaphala chart, you are not merely asking, is this year good or bad? That is too shallow. Tajika does not work like vague optimism or vague fear. Tajika asks a sharper question. Who wants what, and is that result actually moving toward manifestation? This is where the third Tajika Yoga becomes one of the most important yogas in the entire annual prediction system. This is Itasala Yoga, the yoga of direct application, direct approach, and active coming together. And Itasala properly, you begin to see why Varshaphala is such a powerful system for yearly forecasting. Because it does not just say career is active or marriage is possible or property matters are highlighted. It asks, is the significator of the person actually moving toward the significator of the matter? Is the event approaching? Is the opportunity still alive? Is the promise in motion? That is the beauty of Itasala. Technically, Itasala forms when two relevant planets are in aspect within their deep tamsa, or orb of influence, and the faster planet is behind the slower planet, moving toward it. That one sentence is Quechua prediction. It is profound. Because Itasala says, the matter has not passed. The matter is not dead. The matter is not imaginary. The matter is moving toward completion. In practical life, this can show a meeting being arranged, an offer being prepared, a relationship discussion becoming serious, a client conversation turning into a contract, a medical diagnosis moving toward treatment, a legal issue moving toward hearing, a property matter moving toward signing, or a creative idea moving toward public release. Itasala is the difference between I am thinking about it and it is now happening. This is why in Tajika, we never read the yoga blindly. First, we identify the Lagnesha, the ruler of the ascendant, representing the native, the body, the intention, the person asking, the one experiencing the year. Then we identify the Karyesha, the ruler of the matter, the 10th lord for career, 7th lord for marriage or contracts, 4th lord for property and home, 5th lord for children or education, 9th lord for law, guru, fortune, higher learning, or long-distance blessings. Only then do we ask, are these two planets moving toward each other? If yes, Itasala says, the person and the matter are entering the same room. Now listen to this carefully. Itasala is not automatically a happy ending. It is a promise of approach. It shows that something is trying to perfect. But whether it delivers cleanly depends on strength, dignity, house placement, obstruction, and especially the moon. Tajika is precise here. A connection can exist, but Mars or Saturn may obstruct it. The moon may or may not carry it into lived reality. One planet may be too weak to deliver. So Itasala is not fantasy. It is movement. But movement matters, because in a yearly chart, movement is everything. Suppose the Lagnesha forms Itasala with the 10th lord. The native and career are moving toward each other. This may show an interview, promotion discussion, new responsibility, visibility with authority, role change, or a formal professional opening. If the sun is involved, the matter may come through government, fatherly figures, executives, seniors, management, leadership seats, or official recognition. The sun represents authority, dignity, power, leadership, government, seniors, and position. If this Itasala happens in the 10th Ho'i, the matter enters the public domain. It can show meetings with bosses, performance reviews, institutional accountability, promotion panels, project approval, or career elevation. In the first house, the person themselves becomes the central force. They must act, appear, decide, and take ownership. In the 7th, the result comes through clients, agreements, partnerships, contracts, spouse, competitors, or public negotiation. In the 4th, the event may concern home, property, vehicles, emotional foundations, family, residence, or land. That is how Tajika thinks. Not good yoga, bad yoga. It asks, which planet, which house, which matter, which direction, which strength, which obstruction, which embodiment. Now let us bring this alive. If the 1st lord and 7th lord are in Itasala, this can show the person moving toward another person. In relationship questions, it may show a serious conversation, reunion, proposal, marriage negotiation, or partnership agreement. In business, it may show a contract, client acquisition, market opening, legal settlement, or public engagement. But now the planet matters. If Venus is the Karyesha, the matter may involve spouse, desire, intimacy, comfort, wealth, beauty, luxury, vehicles, finance, creativity, or value. Venus is the planet of relationships, refinement, self-worth, pleasure, family, vehicles, cosmetics, wealth, and personal value systems. So Venus forming Itasala with the Lagnesha can show a Relat form, a business partnership becoming pleasant, a luxury purchase moving forward, a vehicle matter, a creative project, a financial negotiation, or a self-worth issue coming into active manifestation. But if Venus is weak, afflicted, combust, or placed in a difficult house, the desire is present, but the vessel is compromised. The person may want love, but the emotional maturity may not be there. They may want luxury, but the money may be unstable. They may want peace, but the relationship structure may not hold. That is why Itasala must always be read with planetary capacity. Now imagine Mars forms the Itasala. Mars brings action, heat, courage, engineering, surgery, land, property, sharp tools, police, military, urgency, vehicles, emergencies, conflict, and goal-directed force. If Mars is strong and well-placed, Itasala may show decisive action. A land deal scheduled, a legal fight advances. A sports goal, engineering project, property repair, construction matter, vehicle issue, or competitive exam becomes active. Mars does not sit and meditate. Mars acts. But if Mars is harsh, angry, obstructive, or placed in difficult relationship with the faster planet, Itasala may also show conflict approaching. A fight that was only brewing now becomes direct. A competitor moves against the person. A surgery becomes unavoidable. A land dispute enters action. A workplace disagreement reaches confrontation. So with Mars, ask, is this courage or is this conflict? Is this surgery that saves or injury that interrupts? Is this engineering execution or destructive haste? Now take Mercury. Mercury represents speech, intelligence, paperwork, trade, data, writing, communication, education, students, documents, software, messages, and commerce. If Mercury forms Itasala with the relevant house lord, expect documents, emails, calls, contracts, numbers, paperwork, accounts, reports, forms, analytics, or messages to become active. For a student, this can be admission. For a trader, transaction. For a writer, publication. For a consultant, client communication. For a legal matter, documentation. For a software professional, code, data platform, or technical delivery. But again, Mercury can be clever or scattered. If strong, it negotiates. If weak, it gossips, miscommunicates, delays paperwork, loses documents, or overthinks the matter. This is why in a yearly forecast, I do not merely say Mercury is active. I ask, what is Mercury carrying and toward whom? Now Jupiter. Jupiter brings teachers, lawyers, judges, advisors, children, wisdom, education, banking, institutions, rules, regulations, dharma, faith, and expansion. If Lagnesha forms Itasala with Jupiter as Karyesha, or with the Lord of the 5th or 9th supported by Jupiter, the year can ends, legal progress, children-related developments, teaching, mentorship, blessings, institutional support, banking help, spiritual growth, or moral clarity. If this happens in the 9th house, the signal becomes even stronger for higher learning, gurus, law, long-distance journeys, pilgrimage, publication, fatherly figures, or fortune. In the 5th, it may show children, students, creativity, romance, mantra, learning, performance, or advisory support. But Jupiter must be clean. A weak Jupiter may show overpromising, legal confusion, misguided advisors, excessive optimism, or faith without practical structure. Itasala with Jupiter is beautiful when Jupiter has the strength to protect. But if Jupiter is compromised, the person may believe the result is bigger than it actually is. Now Saturn. Saturn brings work, time, responsibility, delays, labor, seniors, systems, hierarchy, construction, oil, minerals, machinery, status, discipline, and burden. If Saturn forms Itasala with the Lagnesha or Karyesha, do not immediately panic. Saturn can give real results. But Saturn asks for time, structance, responsibility, and maturity. This can show a job becoming stable, a long-term contract, construction, machinery, old property, government process, audit, regulatory matter, karmic duty, or hard-earned recognition. But Saturn does not give casually. Saturn says, are you ready to carry the weight? In career, Saturn Itasala may show a promotion with burden. In marriage, commitment with responsibility. In property, delayed but structured acquisition. In health, slow treatment. In law, procedural progress. In finance, repayment plans or disciplined restructuring. Saturn is not quick happiness. Saturn is earned outcome. Now the moon. The moon is crucial in Tajika because the moon tells us whether the matter becomes felt, embodied, public, emotional, and lived. The moon represents mind, emotions, mother, masses, food, water, home, hidden processes, psychology, travel, local community, and emotional absorption. An Itasala may exist between two planets, but if the moon supports the pattern, the result enters life. People feel it. Family responds. The public sees it. The gnat enses it. Without lunar embodiment, many promises remain theoretical. This is why, when reading a Varshaphala chart, I always look at the moon after seeing Itasala. Because the moon tells us, will this actually touch the person's life, or is it only a technical possibility? Now let us understand Itasala through houses. If Itasala connects the 1st and 10th houses, the person moves toward career result. This can be promotion, visibility, new role, authority, responsibility, public achievements, or professional recognition. If the 1st and 4th connect, the person moves toward home, property, residence, family stability, vehicle matters, emotional settlement, relocation, or land. If the 1st and 7th connect, the person moves towards spouse, partner, client, competitor, market, contract, agreement, or negotiation. If the 1st and 5th connect, the person moves toward children, creativity, education, romance, performance, advisory roles, teaching, or intelligence-based output. If the 1st and 9th connect, the person moves toward fortune, guru, law, higher education, pilgrimage, fatherly guidance, publication, ethics, or long-distance opportunities. If the 1st and 6th connect, there may be movement toward work, service, conflict, disease, competition, debt, litigation, employees, or daily routine correction. If the 1st and 8th connect, the year may activate hidden matters, inheritance, insurance, taxes, sudden transformation, occult study, surgery, secrets, deep psychological process, or crisis management. If the 1st and 12th connect, there may be movement toward foreign lands, expenses, hospitals, retreats, isolation, spiritual release, sleep, hidden work, or losses that may also become liberation. So Itasala is not always pleasant. It is active. It says the bridge is being built. Now signs color the yoga. If Itasala happens in Aries, the result comes with urgency, courage, speed, initiative, impatience, and direct action. Aries is pure life force, initiation, conquest, and raw movement. A career Itasala in Aries may show a bold role. A relationship Itasala in Aries may show passion but also conflict. A property Itasala in Aries may involve land, construction, heat. If it happens in Taurus, the result seeks stability, money, comfort, food, family, voice, wealth, beauty, and preservation. Taurus is the builder of value and stability. A financial Itasala here may be strong. A relationship Itasala may move slowly but steadily. A career result may involve banking, luxury, food, art, resources, or value creation. If it happens in Gemini, the vehicle. Gemini is the sign of speech, trade, intellect, networking, and movement of information. The result may come through messages, contracts, siblings, commerce, teaching, content, media, writing, or negotiation. If it happens in Cancer, the matter becomes emotional, domestic, family-oriented, protective, and sensitive. Other, property, emotional safety, vehicles, and belonging. The result may involve residence, family healing, emotional decisions, care, or public response. If it happens in Leo, authority, dignity, leadership, visibility, creativity, recognition, romance, and moral identity come forward. Leo is the royal flat and sovereignty. Itasala here may bring rank, stage, leadership, teaching, or a dramatic personal declaration. If it happens in Virgo, the result comes through service, analysis, health, details, correction, documentation, routine, duty, or technical work. Virgo refines and applies in Ision. Itasala here may show treatment plans, audits, process improvement, technical work, or practical service. If it happens in Libra, relationships, balance, law, agreements, design, diplomacy, fairness, and social exchange become central. Libra seeks harmony, justice, and cooperative success. T for marriage, business partnerships, negotiation, legal agreement, or artistic collaboration if the planets are strong. If it happens in Scorpio, the result is transformative. Scorpio brings secrecy, crisis, occult knowledge, inheritance, sexuality, psychological depth, and rebirth. Ita intense healing, surgery, deep intimacy, hidden financial matters, or exposure of secrets. If it happens in Sagittarius, the result moves through truth, higher learning, law, travel, philosophy, dharma, teachers, and institutions. Sagittarius is the seeker of wisdom and higher purpose. This can show Tajika movement, publication, teaching, or blessings through guidance. If it happens in Capricorn, the result comes through responsibility, status, work, pressure, hierarchy, time, construction, and endurance. Capricorn is duty, realism, and structural achievement. This can show hard-earned promotion, institutional process, long-term labor, or delayed but durable results. If it happens in Aquarius, the result comes through networks, technology, reform, income, gains, systems, innovation, social groups, and unconventional routes. Aquarius is the reformer, innovator, and cosmic engineer. This can show digital litty, community gains, AI, software, social reform, or unusual alliances. If it happens in Pisces, the result comes through surrender, faith, foreign lands, sleep, dreams, spiritual institutions, compassion, charity, healing, imagination, or release. Pisces is the ocean of faith and final dissolution. This may show spiritual retreat, foreign travel, a healing work, or closure through grace. Now let us make this practical. A person asks, will I get the job this year? We look at the Varshaphala. Lagnesha and 10th Lord form Itasala. The faster planet is applying. The 10th house is involved. The Sun or Saturn is strong. The Moon supports the matter. Now the reading becomes clear. Yes, the Ively coming together. There may be interview, authority contact, official communication, or role movement. If Saturn is involved, it may come with responsibility and delay. If Sun is involved, it may come through a senior or management figure. If Mercury is involved, paperwork and communication decide the outcome. Another person asks, will this relationship become serious? Lagnesha and 7th Lord form Itasala. Venus is involved. Moon supports. The 7th house is strong. This is not casual attraction anymore. The two parties are moving toward each other. There may be proposal, meeting of families, commitment discussion, negotiation, or emotional confirmation. But if Mars obstructs, conflict enters. If Saturn obstructs, delay, fear, duty, or family pressure enters. If Venus is weak, attraction exists but refinement is lacking. If the Moon does not carry it, the relationship may remain discussed but not embodied. This is why Itasala is powerful but never read alone. Another person asks, will the property deal happen? Lagnesha and 4th Lord form Itasala. Mars may represent land, construction, or property action. Moon may represent home and family. Venus may represent vehicle or comfort. Saturn may represent old buildings, construction, documentation, or delay. Mercury may represent paperwork. If the planets are strong and the Moon supports, the deal moves. There may be site visits, family agreement, loan paperwork, signing, relocation, or repair. If Mars afflicts, dispute or damage. If Saturn delays, documents, registry, old structure, loan, or government procedure slows the matter. This is how a yearly reading becomes specific. Not vague, not decorative, specific. Itasala tells you that the event is approaching. The house tells you where. The planet tells you who or what. The sign tells you the style. The Moon tells you whether it becomes lived reality. Strength tells you whether it can deliver. Obstruction tells you what can interrupt. Now here is the deeper psychological layer. When Itasala forms in a Varshaphala chart, the person often feels the pull before the event occurs. They may not know the exact outcome, but they sense that something is moving. A conversation keeps returning. A person keeps appearing. A decision keeps pressing. A document waits to be signed. A desire becomes active. An opportunity refuses to leave. That is Itasala from inside. It is the feeling of life saying, move toward this. But wise forecasting does not confuse movement with completion. Itasala says the door is being approached. It does not always say the door opens smoothly. For that, we check the rest of the Tajika grammar. Is there Manau? Then Mars or Saturn may cut across the promise. Is there Kambula? Then the Moon carries it into lived experience. Is there Radha? Then one planet may be too weak to deliver. Is there Kuda? Then the planets have operational strength. Is there Darufa? Then agency is low and the person must act carefully. This is why Varshaphala is not fatalism. It is timing intelligence. It shows you where the year is trying to become concrete. If you are watching your own annual chart, ask yourself, where is the Itasala? Which matter is approaching me? Am I ready to meet it consciously or will I sleepwalk into it? Because Itasala rewards participation. If career is approaching, prepare your documents. Speak to seniors. Take the interview seriously. Show up cleanly. If relationship is approaching, do not hide behind confusion. Have the conversation. Clarify the intention. If property is approaching, check papers, loans, land quality, family consent, and timing. If health treatment is approaching, do not delay diagnosis or discipline. If education is approaching, apply, study, submit, prepare. If legal settlement is approaching, organize evidence and counsel. The yoga opens the current, but you still must navigate the river. And this is exactly why I use Varshaphala for yearly forecast readings, because your annual chart can show which areas of life are actually moving toward manifestation, which opportunities are real, which promises are weak, which results need patience, which matters need mediation, and which areas require conscious action before the timing passes. A good yearly forecast is not just prediction, it is preparation. It tells you, this is the year's active doorway. This is where life is applying pressure. This is where a result is approaching. This is where you must act, negotiate, heal, commit, sign, release, or step forward. So when you see Itasala in a Varshaphala chart, do not reduce it to good yoga. Say it properly. Something is coming together. The native and the matter are moving toward contact. The conversation is no longer theoretical. The result is approaching the field of life. And if the planets are strong, if the moon carries the promise, if malefic obstruction does not break the flow, then Itasala can become one of the clearest signatures of manifestation in the annual chart. That is the power of the third Tajika Yoga. It shows the year's living movement. It shows the promise before it becomes an event. It shows the meeting before the contract, the attraction before commitment, the interview before appointment, the diagnosis before treatment, the application before admission, the desire before embodiment. And in a properly read Varshaphala, that is priceless. Because once you know what is approaching, you stop living randomly. You prepare, you align, you act, and you meet the year with intelligence. If you want to understand what your own year is trying to bring together, career, relationship, property, health, finances, children, education, relocation, spiritual growth, or major life transition, get a detailed yearly forecast reading with me. Because the chart does not merely show what may happen, it shows where life is already moving toward you.